All right, it should be on. Maybe somebody, I've got my phone first and see if it shows up.
Just make sure you're at the table. I wasn't going to start with that.
Thank you.
6:30, so we'll get started and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, we have most of our board here. I'm sitting here because Glenn is not available tonight, but the rest of the board is here and we have Steve Dunn. Do we have any public, we have nobody in the audience for public comment, so no public comment tonight. So we can get started with our new business, which is a final discussion of the town of Brookfield budget. So I don't know if anybody has any comments to start with, if we just want to go through some of what the numbers are.
I think we just jump right in.
Yeah. Okay. So since our last meeting, we did get confirmation the Board of Selectmen had voted to adopt the state's revised tax tax schedule for the auto tax. So that was, we had kind of accounted for that in anticipation of that being voted on. So those are in our final numbers tonight. So that is a great help to the town, kind of eases into the change instead of ripping off the Band-Aid with a lot more pain.
Yeah, we didn't want you guys going into this approval without knowing either way.
Yeah, that was really
So we
good.
called the special board of selectmen meeting, because it's
Yes,
important,
that was
and
good.
it's a lot of money.
Yes,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. So I think what I'll do is I'll start with we have several motions to make, so we can make a motion and have a discussion on it, and then we can vote on it
Yeah.
afterwards, so let's go that route. So I would like to make a motion that the Board of Finance approve and recommend to a public hearing the following operating budget for fiscal year 2025 to 2026. We have town operations of $23,624,933, school operations of $55,439,000 and $439,292, a debt service of $9,130,415, and capital and other of $2,981,034 for a total of $91,175,774. So this is as outlined above and described in the operating budget, which is being submitted to the town clerk on March 21st, 2025. This budget represents an increase of 3.69% over the mill rate of the prior fiscal year. It anticipates a mill rate of 28.93 for the fiscal year 2025-2026. Do I have a second?
A second.
Brian, great. Any discussion?
Can I just say one thing?
Please do.
I have been following, I watched your meetings. I think this board did an incredibly good job balancing the needs of our residents versus the tax level. It's just incredible the work that you guys do, and I think most residents are really appreciative. You guys did a fantastic job. I created a perfect budget, and then you made it.
You set a strong foundation, Steve. I mean, I think the expectation that you set for the departments in the town, I think really made the job a lot easier for us. You know, we have Marcia running numbers, who is phenomenal at all that she does and
She
what the
is.
service of the town that she provides. So I think that can't be underscored enough. I think it was a good idea that we kind of righted the numbers that the Board of Education, so we accounted for what the actual expenses were that we had played into the contingency fund last year. So I think that was a more transparent way to operate. And, you know, I think we are presenting a sound budget. You know, we're meeting capital needs, you know, thanks to the capital committee led by Brian and the others. So I think that is great. I mean, that's something that we've strived for as this board, to maintain the assets that our town holds. You know, our residents use the buildings and the facilities and the land, and we want to make sure that it's a safe and welcoming place, which makes it a place that other people want to move. So, yeah, I'm happy with where we landed.
Yeah, I'll just say that this is my second go-around, and last year I thought we did a really rigorous job, and this year I think was even more. It was the amount of detail that everybody got into on each of these. I mean, you went to the police
Yeah.
station, I was driving around the town to see the capital. things.
You were driving around the town to
Yeah.
see the capital, yeah?
And from when the budgets got submitted, through the whole process, changes were made. So, I mean, it really was looked at,
Yeah.
thoughtful changes, not huge changes, but thoughtful changes on, other than the debt service, which just kind of gets locked down very quick. But thoughtful changes were made on every one of the lines, which kind of shows that people were looking at it, so.
You know, what's really good is I looked at it with every single department, then the Board of Selectmen looked at it with virtually every large department, and then you guys did too. we had, 3 sets of eyes with the same goal, to get the right budget. And I think that happened, and Brian, what the capital committee
well, it's
did was
described.
incredible, and I expect it'll get even better
Yes.
as we go forward.
Yes.
The other thing that, this year we didn't have a lot of the extra revenue that we've been blessed to have in the past years. So I think that work that's been done in the past 2 years, 2 or 3 years, knowing that we had, dealing with the bubble, but making sure that we were spending the money, but saving some to level things off, I think, is a huge asset from the previous boards and,
Yeah, and
forward thinking.
On that same subject, there is significant concern about what the federal government is doing.
Yep.
We have built over the last 8 years a fortress balance sheet, regardless of what happens with the feds. We are well positioned to manage anything that happens, which is the reason we want good reserves, right?
Mary, do you have any?
No, just the whole process and the collegiality and everybody working together was starting way back months and months ago with our really great department heads who are experts in their subject matter, all the way through all these sets of eyes looking at it. It's been a great process.
Actually, there was one public comment, right? That's the
Yeah.
only, unless someone else got
No,
other.
that was the
someone else
meeting that I
already.
walked in late, so.
And that was on a few capital items for the school, and I think that actually in the comment was, let's try to get this in next year.
Yeah.
Which I think is a good idea. Look, we pulled in the servers that weren't in the 10-year plan, we did add some other things, so, it was a tough balance, but I think that's something that, look, if everything goes well, and got some extra money as we proceed to the year, or keeping it high on the list for next year, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I
we
have no
have,
doubt that you won't forget those items.
I won't, I put my own in mind, someone taught me how to do that.
No doubt, Brian.
one of the things that is going to be coming up over the next couple months, we contracted with Titan to do a solar survey of all of our buildings.
Oh, yeah.
And CLES would be ready to go immediately. The high school in Wisconsin, the roofs are not in the condition to put solar on them right now. And what they have been doing is repairing as needed. So we should consider doing entire sections of the roof.
And
Just
add
do
it
it
for
from
solar.
the, so
And
we
add
can
the
put solar on it.
Yes.
Yes.
Right, it'll be more expensive to do that, but right now, they're not capable of taking solar.
Yeah.
And we don't wanna put solar on there and have to take it off in 3 years and take it. So that's something we should consider
For
and think
next
about
year's, yes.
next year. I mean,
Yes.
everybody's been really careful about their budgets,
Yeah.
but in
But
this
that
case on the
electricity has
roofs,
been
The
a big
electricity
issue
has
the
been a
past
big
couple
issue.
of years.
Always
Right.
has been, yeah.
Yes.
we
I
wanna,
think that's a great idea.
we wanna think that through a little differently, I think.
Agree, because that would be a huge, huge help.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Huge help.
I mean, I think, and that's another thing too, is with the, a lot of departments putting together these 10-year capital plans, that gives us that foresight of what's coming next and being able to
Yep.
prepare for that. I mean, I
Yep.
think that helps the
Mhm.
capital committee a ton and makes it easier as we're deliberating on,
Yeah.
what they've put together, that, okay, that makes sense, we can see where this is gonna fit in the future. So I
Yep.
think we have the big ticket projects, we still have, the police station, we have the community center, library piece, what are we doing with center school? That's still a big piece that I think we'll get back to after the budget season, but that's still been in the background of all the conversations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Does anybody have any further comments, or do we wanna take a vote on it?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Great, passes 5-0. So the next motion is, I would like to make a motion that the Board of Finance approve and recommend to a public hearing an amount not to exceed $6,896,560 for the capital budget for fiscal year 2025-26 as outlined and described in the capital budget being submitted to the town clerk on March 21st, 2025. And to approve financing in an amount not to exceed these amounts for the issuance of bonds and/or temporary notes in accordance with the standard bonding and borrowing resolution for said appropriation not to exceed $2,881,675. The balance will come from the following sources: the year-end 2025 excess revenues of $420,577, previously funded reserves of $495,000, the year-end 2024 EMS excess funding of $50,000, the police outside services fund of $68,274, and the capital from the operating budget of $2,981,034 for a total of $4,014,885. The bonded portion of above would be $2,881,675, with a total capital spending of $6,896,560. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Great, any discussion?
May I make one suggestion? I know that the board had already called for a hearing on the 1st of April at
Mhm.
7 PM.
Yeah,
I would like the board to, we usually do the capital because I have to have a town meeting on capital.
yep,
We usually do it the same night.
yep,
We'd like to call that for 7 PM and have your hearing for 7:30,
sure.
if you can
I
make
think
that
that's what we did
change.
last year.
You
Yeah.
did call it, but for 7.
Oh, okay.
If you can just make the, you
So
can
7
make-
and 7:30, not
you
6:30
can-
and 7.
change this, add to this at
Yeah.
7:30 on
Yeah.
April 1st.
Okay.
Okay.
I remember last year, a lot of people showed up for Capitol and like everybody walked out for the,
Yeah.
for the public hearing.
Yeah.
That's
We were speaking to ourselves.
fun.
Any discussion about
It's
this?
at high school, right?
Yeah.
At
Yes.
high school
Yeah, I remember
auditorium.
that.
In the
Yeah.
auditorium.
Yeah,
I'm good, I have no discussion.
Yeah,
yeah, no, this is good,
Well
good,
done.
good, well done planning, yeah.
yes, great. Then let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
And none opposed? The motion passes 5-0.
There we go.
So I think that was all of our new business for tonight, was
Yeah.
it? Wow. No public comment? I'll make a motion to adjourn. Any seconds?
I'll second.
Brianna, all in favor?
Aye. I'm gonna wait for Brian to turn on.
And we'll adjourn.